Right, hello people, how you all doing? My name is Chico, and this is going to be my first YouTube video. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I've had some limiting beliefs to kill, and today is the actual day we're starting the filming. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory about me, um, I'm a 24-year-old entrepreneur living in the UK. I'm currently running two places. One of them is a small fabrication company. We've got a few guys working for us. We also do all of our structural drawings, fabrication drawings in-house. This is something I've been working on for quite a while, about 6 years, and recently I've also started something new, which is a bit more out of my league. However, I'm learning quickly, and it is just new opportunities and new ventures in life that I wanted to jump in. My channel is going to be a mixture between my journey, my story, all the new things I learn, some of the books I've learned, and just overall giving you guys an insight of my life and what it is to be a young guy trying to make it in the business industry, especially if you're somebody who's trying to make it in the brick and mortar industry. So I thought today what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to share some lessons and some tips from my journey. I wanted to start off by asking you guys a question. Has anybody thought about starting a business? Has anybody thought about what are the key skills or the key things you need to keep in mind when starting a business? Because there is a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of things which you need to, there's a lot of limiting beliefs which you need to kill. For example, like me not feeling great of being on camera. There's a lot of limiting beliefs in terms of, can I make this money? Am I able to fulfill this project? Am I able to do this and that? So the question is, have you guys thought about starting a business of your own? Have you guys got any ideas in terms of what you'd like this business to be? I know currently there's a big stigma with everybody wanting to be an online entrepreneur, a digital nomad, just working from their phone and traveling the world, enjoying Dubai, enjoying the Maldives, and just drinking pina coladas on the beach. But for everybody, that's not the case. And for 99% of us, that's going to be a long journey and a very difficult one at that. So one thing to keep in mind is keep working, guys. Work hard, believe in yourself, and everything is possible, man. You see these young kids making hundreds of thousands, so why can we not do it? I want to start off by saying there's three major things which I've learned in business, that these are the fundamentals. These were the fundamentals for my business, and which is the few first things which I learned, which I was having a lot of trouble with at the start. The first thing is, and this is a very key thing. This is an extremely important topic which a lot of people don't mention. However, this is the number one lesson which I want to pass on to you guys, and this is the number one problem I see with a lot of new businesses, and that was my big problem when I first started out. This problem is to underprice your services. This is the one thing which will majorly hurt you at the start, and it will also demotivate you massively. This will make you feel like you're not achieving things. It will make you feel like you're not achieving your dreams. But that is not true. That is just simply the mistake of not actually pricing yourself right. So there's three key ideas which I found with underpricing your services. Number one is that people won't respect you. People will think that because you're too cheap, you're just a cowboy builder. Like in my industry, they say, you're just a cowboy builder, you're too cheap, you don't know what you're doing. And especially if you're young like me, if you're in your 20s trying to build something, the stigma's kind of going, but when you're young, people will say you don't have a lot of life experience, you don't know what you're talking about, and you won't be respected. But if you value yourself correctly, and if you've got some projects to show that you've completed, this will massively turn the tables. If you evaluate yourself correctly, if you give a project and it comes and you get the feedback of, my apologies, the price is too high, what can we do about it, you can always say, the reason that the price is so high is because my services are great. Here is the proof. I've done this project, I've done this project. If it's your very first one, build a small portfolio, make a couple of things, but do not keep yourself underpriced. The way I learned that lesson was through my first year of business. I was extremely underpriced and I was struggling. I would complete a full month of work and I would feel like, looking at the bank account, it was empty. I had just paid my bills and there was nothing left for myself. And I found, and I was wondering, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? You'd look at your cost analysis and you'd be like, well, they've paid me correctly. I've paid my bills, but there's nothing left for me. So I found after a while that the issue I was having is I was never putting my cost into the business, which meant I was underpricing myself. And also I was charging a very cheap rate for my actual services. So I was way below competitors. I wasn't busy enough to say, be a busy idiot, but still cover yourself. But it was overall just keeping things on a very, very cheap basis. The second point you want to keep in mind for underpricing your services is that you're going to lose a lot of work. You're going to lose projects which you could have easily gotten. Again, a story I've got with this is that I was making a project one time. Well, I didn't make it. I didn't even get the project, but I was pricing a project and I thought it was very easy. I thought you would be in there for a couple of hours, get in and out. Yeah, so I gave a cheap price. Turns out the competitor who won the job and the person who actually got the job was 3 times more expensive than me. And I got told by a friend of mine who does work for that client. He asked him why didn't you go with this company, and he said the price was just too cheap. It was too good to be true. You guys know, too good to be true is most often not true, and that's one thing which will mess you up. So number one, people won't respect you. Number two, you're going to be losing a lot of work because people are going to think he's a cowboy builder. He's not very good. He's not very experienced. That's why he's so cheap. And number three, you won't be making any profit. Like I said, I was extremely in a big struggle. I fell in a lot of debt in my first year of business because I wasn't making any money. I was borrowing money from family members, borrowing money from my parents, from my sister, and it was not a good time. It was an extremely stressful first year. But I met somebody and he gave me some advice. He told me, listen, mate, pick up your services, do in the way I see you, price it, double it, and then add 50% on top. And then you might actually start making some money. I took the advice. I didn't exactly go on that metric, but I took the advice. I picked up my rates. I included all of my expenses. I started adding percentages to materials, to labor costs, to deliveries, to all sorts of things. And it turns out slowly I started to make some money. I started to see the bank account growing. I was able to pay my bills and still have some left over for me. And this is a very, very important thing in business. You never want to underprice your services. You're going to find an extreme struggle if you stay underpriced and if you don't value yourself right. At the end of the day, you're providing value. And as long as the value you're providing is good, then you should be able to pay yourself correctly. So that's the first lesson. Do not underprice yourself. Lesson number 2 is communication is the key to retaining clients. Again, I found that out the kind of hard way. It wasn't as bad as the first one, but I found that out in a bit of a stressful situation. I was in a few jobs which I made some mistakes and they ran over, and poor communication meant in me actually losing the client long term. So the first point of communication is the key to retaining clients, is that with good communication it could be the turning point between you keeping a client long term and losing a client after a single project. Obviously, if you do a shit job, if you don't do a good job, you're not going to keep the client anyway. But if you do a good job, but your communication was extremely poor during the carrying out of the job, if in the carrying out of the project, you might still find yourself in losing that client long term. The second I realized that, I started keeping clients. They kept coming back. They kept referring me. They said, "Oh, this young lad's got some potential. He's done a brilliant job for us. Let's call him again." And now I've got clients who have been working with me for over 4 years. I've been running my business for 6 years, so 4 years of retaining clients and doing probably £100,000, over £100,000 with a certain client. Many other clients, keeping them, coming back. Just had a call on Friday from an old-time client. He didn't call me for a year. I thought maybe I'd lost him, but no, it turns out he just didn't have any projects for us. So keep on the communication. The second point in that is, when you do make mistakes, but if you're straight up with the client, if you're honest with them, if you keep the communication right, if you call them up and you're late, if you call them up and you've made a mistake, you've messed up, you've drilled the holes wrong, for example, or you've supplied the wrong product, call them up. Call them up before the product reaches them. If you realize your mistake, call them up, let them know, listen, say, "I've made a mistake." Be straight up with them. Tell them, be a person. People will always be lenient with people they connect with. And communication is the best way to connect with people. This is why humanity has reached the point that it is. If you think about it, the one thing we've got much better than other animals is the ability to communicate and the ability to use our brains. So in a much better way than other animals. But our ability to communicate with one another is what sets us apart from different species. So use that ability. Become a good communicator. And this took me a long time to learn. And it most likely will take you a long time to learn. However, don't stop learning. Don't stop reading. Become a good listener. Look people in the eyes. And spend the time to improve your communication skills. That will set you apart from other people massively. Absolutely massively. It will make the difference between you keeping clients and losing clients long term. So that's one more thing to remember. Communication is the key to retaining clients. Lesson number 3. This is a big one. And this is very common. This is extremely common nowadays. And you're going to hear a lot of people speaking about it. But I thought I want to put my 2 cents in because I've got quite a lot of experience with this lesson. It is finding a mentor. It's finding the right mentor. You want to improve in what you're doing, but you don't have the knowledge. So what do? Do you buy a £10,000 course? Do you buy a £100 course? How do you know this course is going to help you? Find a mentor. Find somebody in your area who is where you already want to be, who is already where your target is, and learn from them. Learn from them, become friends with them. Once you become friends with them, the key point to actually learning from these people is to ask 1,000 questions. Find a mentor who lives on the principle of no question is a stupid question. I was extremely lucky with my first mentor who told me, "I'd much rather you ask a stupid question and I answer it to you instead of you worrying about asking a stupid question that might not be stupid, then you don't know the answer, then you go and make the mistake." Do not be stressed about asking questions. Ask the questions. But the key thing to retaining your mentor is to implement what he tells you. So it's all well and good to ask 1,000 questions. But if somebody tells you, add your information to your social media, add your phone number to every post, and you don't implement that, your mentor will see that. The person you're looking up to will end up seeing this, and he won't be interested. He'll say, "I've given you the information, but you're not implementing it." Remember, guys, people always say knowledge is power. However, I don't like that. I've heard somebody a long time ago say, knowledge is not power. Implemented knowledge is power. Knowledge is only potential power. Knowledge becomes power when you actually implement it. So take the time, ask the questions, but implement what these guys are teaching you. This will again set you far apart from the people who are on the same wavelength of you as you. This will set you apart from the people who are at the same position as you. Find yourself a mentor, ask 1,000 questions, and implement the answers. This is the key points to finding a mentor. These 3 things are the pinnacle. These 3 things are the foundation of how I built my business and how I got to where I am today. And I'm extremely happy and I'm extremely satisfied to what I've achieved in the last few years. I was struggling. I had some troubles in my past. I had some troubles with one of my businesses, which that story will come another day. Hopefully you guys stick around to hear that story, but that will come another day. Implement these things. Set your foundation for your business. This will set you apart from the others. And take the time, implement, ask questions, learn, implement. This is the best way to set your foundations. So, yeah. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say to you. I hope you guys can implement what I'm saying to you. And I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what I'm planning for this and what I'm thinking to do with this channel. So, like I said at the start of the video, I'm planning to make this a short journey of my entrepreneurial life. I'm only 24 now, but I've lived through experiences which a lot of you, I think, can connect with and can take lessons from. I've done some blunders in my past. I've made some big mistakes, which I've learned from. I'm going to make sure I don't implement them again. I want to mention that whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, look at the world around you. We live in an age where everything is possible. Everything is achievable. If there's people making £100,000 per month, then this is all that is. It's inspiration for us, and it's proof that it can be done. Once it's done one time, it can be done again. It's exactly like the 4-minute mile. Once one person completed it, it got done many, many times after that. So be persistent, stay on top of your game, keep learning, and keep hustling, my friends.